So this is a really short restorative practice. And restorative yoga is yoga essentially with props, where you use the props to help support you. So you're going to need whatever props you have, your 2 blocks, possibly a strap, we can work without it, a thick towel or blanket, and some of you might even have a bolster at home. We'll want your bolster too. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick eye of the needle just to warm up the body. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, grab behind the thigh or the front of the shin, and breathe deeply. And this is all about moving really slowly, taking our time, holding the poses for a lot longer than we normally hold them. So what's important is that you're really comfortable in all the poses. Release and switch sides, and not like, you're not going to be comfortable like sleeping on a cozy couch, but comfortable meaning like you're comfortable enough to sustain wherever you're in. There should be no pain. Good. And then uncross your legs. And if you are working with minimal props, let's say you just have your 2 blocks, I'll show you the 2 block setup for this one, and then Adrian and I will do like the more propped up version of the setup. So Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees wide apart, and then you'll place your blocks at whatever height you need. So if you're a little tighter, they're gonna go to the medium height. If you're pretty open, they'll go to the lowest level to support your lower outer thigh and knee, sort of upper shin area. Now, those of you who have a few more props available to you, you'll bring your knees together and you'll come to sit. And then we'll still use the blocks, but you're gonna roll up your blanket. So it's gonna be a really long roll. So just take the second or two to get it to be a long roll. This is a little longer than you'll need. Soles of the feet together, knees wide apart, and just scoot a little bit further forward so you have the mat behind you. You'll lay the blanket roll right over your feet. We're gonna clear the blocks just for a moment. You are going to grab the tails of the blanket and nuzzle it right to your outer shins and pull it all the way back to your upper inner thighs. And then just stay with me. If you also have a bolster, you get to place this so it hits you right at the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. So go for it. I've got you. And you get a little extra opening in your upper back. How's your low back? And then you might not feel like you're 100% supported with your blanket, and if you don't, you just stick the blocks underneath your knees. How does this feel? Do you want the blocks, or are you good without them? Okay, great. And then just breathe. And you can keep a light grip on the blanket, or you can take your arms out to the sides, almost like a Shavasana-like arm. And you just breathe deeply here. We spend most of our day pretty stimulated. Even the majority of our yoga practice even is stimulating. So to create balance and give our nervous system all the benefits that we think yoga brings to it, we have to incorporate some restorative work. And just check in. You're not holding this, you're not being forced to hold this. So you're holding it as long as it feels okay. We have about 7 more breaths here. Adjust if you need. And as you hear the sounds in the room that you're in, maybe beyond the room, maybe the noise of the phone or whatever is happening around you, notice it and let it ground you where you are. Let it put you in the place where all those things are happening. Allow it to bring you into the present, and then bring yourself back to the breath and bring yourself back into the sensation of being propped in this pose. Just a few more breaths. And don't worry if it's awkward to negotiate the props as you come out. Don't worry. We'll take our time to make our way and organize the props. Just reach down toward your outer thighs and lightly press your legs together. And you can kind of just like kick the blanket out if you're working with the blanket and stretch your legs straight to the floor. So if you have the bolster underneath you, you're in this really gentle back bend. If you don't have the bolster underneath you, you'll roll to your side and come up to sit. So either the variation that Adria was just in, or we'll take a slightly deeper variation with the blocks. So the block will go to the bottom tips of the shoulder blades horizontally, and one block will be vertical, really the tall edge of the tall way underneath the head. And keep your knees bent first. How does that feel? Yeah? And is that too high or are you good?
No, it's good.
Okay, good. So you can adjust the blocks and turn them 1 degree lower. So to the lowest height and to the medium height if this pitch is too intense. And just relax your arms back, palms facing up. Knees bent, feet on the floor is going to be the most neutral for the pelvis. You could stretch your legs straight if that feels good to you. If you're really open in your low back, it might. You could also return back to soles of the feet together, knees wide apart, which is going to be deeper still in the inner thighs and groin. So just rest back here and breathe. It's certainly not a vigorous ujjayi breath in restorative or in this restorative practice. You're breathing deeply, trying to stay aware of the breath. But it doesn't have to be the most vigorous ujjayi pranayama. And as your mind wanders off to all of the lovely thoughts you have in your head, try not to get too attached to any of them. They happen, they bubble up, and then you bring yourself back to the physical sensation in your body right now. And that's actually the practice, so to speak, almost like doing a bicep curl, right? Your mind wanders away, all these thoughts, and then you pull it right back to the sensation that's happening in your body. It wanders away, and you draw it back. And it's in the drawing back to the current sensation that you actually create the strength in your meditation practice. So this isn't specifically a meditation practice, but it's the same mechanism that when your focus wanders out somewhere else, you draw it back to your physical body. About 3 more breaths. And slowly bend your knees, especially if you're not on a bolster, if you're on the blocks. This can be a little bit awkward, so you're gonna roll to your right side and just very slowly come up to sit. And come onto your hands and knees, and we're gonna take child's pose. So I'm gonna have Adria just demonstrate a regular child's pose unpropped, hips to heels, and resting the forehead down. So she can do this without any props, and it probably feels pretty good to you, right? Yeah. Okay. So if for any reason, like you can see her sitting bones are like touching her heels. If for any reason she had a knee issue, you would take 1 or 2 blankets or towels, roll them up as thick as you needed to, place them behind the knees, and then sit back on your heels. And that'll create a little spacer so there's not so much pressure behind the knee. And then if you have your 2 blocks and your bolster, you will take this variation. So we'll keep that blanket there for you. You make like a little, it's actually the same setup as you had behind your back. 1 block at the medium, 1 block at the highest, and then you lay your bolster over the blocks. And go for it. You can lie forward on the bolster. Turn your gaze to one side. You really don't need that blanket, right? Okay. Here, let me give this a little bit more support. There you go. Yeah, so it takes a little while since we're working with the props. We have to kind of like fidget and adjust to get it to the right place. And then once you're there, just settle in. Important to note that if this is not comfortable for you, I'd like you to just come onto your back and take constructive rest. So that's feet wide and your knees dropping in toward one another. So if it's not comfortable, you're lying on your back, feet wide, knees together, no props necessary, and holding there. And just letting yourself soften here. And then turn your head to the other side if your face is turned. And can you start to relax your face a little bit more? Relax your jaw, relax your brow. Even try to allow your tongue to be heavy in the back of your throat. And then staying soft, staying sweet in your movement. Slowly press your hands down into the floor to come up to sit. And we're going to transition to the wall for Viparita Karani. So legs up the wall. If you don't have a wall near you, you can bring your the seat of a chair or your couch, come right up against that and just bend your knees and let the backs of your calves rest on the seat of the chair or your couch. and allow yourself to settle here. And there's a scenario where you might feel like you want to elevate your pelvis a little bit more, at which case you could take the block, bend your knees, put your feet on the wall, and just slide the block underneath your sacrum, and then you'll be in a little bit more of an inversion. Yeah, and it definitely takes a little like wiggling and adjusting to get in the right spot. So most of us can't hold inversions like handstand or headstand for 5 minutes, which makes sense because they're really hard poses to do. But it's beneficial to be upside down for that much time. This pose, for many of us, is accessible, and you can hold it for a pretty long time. So this is our second to last pose. We're going to do a supported version of Shavasana after this. But if you so choose to hold this, this would be a really great pose to hold for the duration of the practice. You don't have to feel like you have to come out of it. And this time varies for me depending on the day, but I like to hold this until my legs start to feel a little bit weird, like until like it feels like fluid has left my toes and my calves, and stuff is starting to kind of pool in my belly and chest. You might even feel like just like a sort of like a tingling. Not that your feet fall asleep, but that there's a shift in the, we call it, it's apanavayu. The shift in the movement of the energy in your body, that it is moving down toward your heart. And it's so good to notice, does this feel good? Like, do you wish every single class you did was like this? That's something good to note. And are you so agitated that we're doing 5 poses instead of how many ever we usually do, like 18 to 25 in our 30-minute sessions? Like where are you on that energy spectrum? And if you want to hold longer, great, stay right here. Otherwise, you'll remove whatever prop is underneath you, and you'll make your way onto your mat for Shavasana. And my recommendation before you lie down is to place your blocks at the highest height, like they're 2 little towers. And then you'll place, if you have a bolster, although you could do this just with the blocks as well, the bolster makes it a lot better. You'll place the bolster on top of your blocks, and your calves are going to rest on this little pillow. And then if this isn't close to the best thing in the world, I don't know what is, lie on your back and rest. And so you still get a little bit of the elevation in your feet, which is really nice. But you are getting that full Shavasana rest in your pelvis and your upper back. And kind of like always, I would say you could stay here for 5 minutes longer if you like. We'll be here for a minute together. Invite a deeper breath back into your body. And if you're staying, ignore me, stay right where you are. If not, wiggle your fingers and toes, Reach your arms over your head. Bend your knees one at a time and pull them right into your chest. Reach forward and grab a hold of your knees and just give yourself a little squeeze. Very, very, very slowly roll to your right side. And slowly press up to a comfortable seated position. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Take a deep breath in. Bow your head to your heart. Namaste.